The call came on a Wednesday afternoon, one of our longest-standing clients. She wasn't calling to place an order. She was calling to ask why she'd been billed twice by two different companies for the exact same work. That's when I realized my business partner of 7 years had been running a shadow company behind my back the entire time we worked together. Sarah and Michelle met at a marketing conference in 2015. Two ambitious women in their early 30s, both frustrated with working for other people, both convinced they could do it better themselves. 6 months later, they launched their agency together. Small at first, just the two of them, working out of Sarah's spare bedroom. But they were good, really good. Within 2 years, they had 30 clients, a small team, and an office downtown. Sarah handled the creative side. Michelle handled operations and client relationships. It was the perfect split, each of them doing what they were best at, trusting the other to handle their half without question. That trust is exactly what Michelle exploited. The first sign came in year 4 of the business, though Sarah wouldn't recognize it as a sign until much later. Michelle started staying late, not occasionally, consistently. 3-4 nights a week, she was in the office long after everyone else had gone home. When Sarah asked about it, Michelle said she was working on a new client pitch, a big one, something that could double their revenue if it came through. Sarah was excited. She didn't ask too many questions. That was the deal. Michelle handled client relationships. Sarah trusted her to handle client relationships. The pitch never materialized. Michelle said they lost it to a bigger agency. Sarah was disappointed, but moved on. They had plenty of other work. What Sarah didn't know was that Michelle hadn't been working on a pitch at all. She'd been building something else entirely, a separate company, registered under a different name, with a different logo, a different website, and a different phone number, but the same clients. It started with one phone call. Linda Chen had been one of their first clients, a loyal one. 7 years of consistent monthly retainers, never missed a payment, referred 3 other clients their way. She called on a Wednesday afternoon and asked to speak with Sarah directly. She said she'd received 2 invoices that month, one from their agency as usual, and one from a company called Pinnacle Creative Solutions she'd never heard of, for the exact same deliverables, the exact same amount. Sarah told her there must be a mistake. She'd look into it and call her back. She hung up the phone and immediately searched Pinnacle Creative Solutions. The website that loaded looked familiar. The services listed were identical to their own. The case studies, with client names removed, were word-for-word copies of projects Sarah herself had worked on. Projects she had creative directed, projects she had poured months of her life into. And the registered agent on the business filing? Michelle. Sarah sat at her desk for a long time after that. She didn't call Michelle. She didn't confront her. Instead, she opened their client database and started going through it line by line. Of their 30 active clients, 11 of them had been simultaneously billed by Pinnacle Creative Solutions, some for months, some for over a year. One client had been paying both companies for nearly 2.5 years. The total Michelle had collected through the shadow company while remaining a partner at their agency was just over $340,000. Sarah didn't sleep that night. By morning, she had documented everything, every invoice, every client, every date. She'd screenshot the Pinnacle website, pulled the business registration, and cross-referenced every transaction she could find against their own agency records. She called her attorney at 8 a.m. What her attorney found in the following days made the situation significantly worse. Michelle hadn't just been billing existing clients through a separate company. She'd been actively poaching new leads, prospects that had contacted their agency for quotes, leads that Sarah's team had generated through marketing, through referrals, through years of reputation building. Michelle had been intercepting them, responding from the Pinnacle email before Sarah's team even had a chance to follow up, offering slightly lower rates to win the business before it ever reached their official pipeline. She had essentially been running a competing company from inside their own office, using their resources, their reputation, and their client relationships to build something designed to eventually replace them. 3 former clients confirmed they had been approached directly by Michelle and steered toward Pinnacle without ever being told it was connected to the agency they already worked with. One of them said Michelle had told them the agency was struggling financially and might not be around much longer. That Pinnacle was the safer option. Sarah had never struggled financially. Their books were healthy. Michelle had made that up entirely. The confrontation happened on a Friday morning. Sarah arrived at the office before anyone else. She placed a printed copy of the Pinnacle business registration on Michelle's desk, along with a stack of the duplicate invoices and a letter from her attorney. When Michelle walked in and saw it, she didn't deny it. She didn't apologize either. She said, and Sarah has repeated this in every interview she's given since, she said, "I built most of those client relationships anyway. I deserve more than 50%. Sarah didn't respond. She pointed to the door. The lawsuit that followed lasted 14 months. Michelle's defense argued that the client relationship she serviced entitled her to pursue independent work with those clients. Sarah's legal team argued that the non-compete and fiduciary duty clauses in their partnership agreement made what Michelle did a clear breach of contract, and that the active deception, the duplicate billing, and the deliberate misinformation to clients elevated it to fraud. The judge agreed. Michelle was ordered to repay the full $340,000 collected through Pinnacle Creative Solutions. She was also found liable for damages related to the clients Sarah lost as a direct result of Michelle's interference, an additional $180,000. Pinnacle Creative Solutions was dissolved by court order. Michelle appealed. The appeal was denied. Sarah still runs the agency today, smaller than it was at its peak, but growing again. She's spoken publicly about the experience, not because she wants sympathy, but because she wants other business owners to understand something she wishes someone had told her before it happened. A partnership agreement is only as strong as the person signing it. You can have every clause, every protection, every legal safeguard in place, and none of it matters if the person across the table has already decided the rules don't apply to them. The most dangerous business partner isn't the one who fails you. It's the one who succeeds, just not with you. If this story made you think twice about who you're in business with, subscribe. Because next week, we're covering the story of a man who discovered his brother had been collecting rent from a property they jointly inherited for 6 years without ever telling him the property existed. That story drops next week. Don't miss it.